Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of Broncos Beat. You guys, while I wish we could stay in the post-game victory mode all day long, I know it's time to move on to this week's matchup as the Broncos start gearing up to face the best team in the NFC South as the New Orleans Saints make their way to the Mile High City. James, you were in New Orleans yesterday covering the game for NFL Network. How did the Taysom Hill hoopla pan out for New Orleans?
Well, it had me using a bagel as a prop on NFL Network. So
I saw that.
It was overall just a very good morning for me. I mean, Sean Payton didn't tell anybody what was going on with Taysom Hill. And the interesting part about it is he went out with a game plan, even us finding out late in the week that it was Taysom Hill. Then the game plan wasn't anywhere near what any of us thought it was going to be. The game plan all week was, I'm going to go downfield. Everybody thought it was going to be designed runs. It was going to be, one maybe option in the pass game and then run it yourself. And they wanted him to get comfortable early, looking at Alvin Kamara and looking at Michael Thomas. That's not actually really what happened. They started going downfield, and he actually had a lot of yards taken off the board because of penalty with a deep touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders that was taken off the board. He wanted to be aggressive with Taysom Hill. He wanted to show everyone that this guy throws the football better than people expect. It was a great team to go out and do that against because the Falcons are not very good as a passing defense. Now you have to make people start thinking and accounting for that, and you can go back and do whatever you want in week 2 and 3, Chris, with Taysom Hill, and now open it up even further that you showed this in the first week.
Yeah, there was so much mystery surrounding Taysom Hill and how he was going to look as, making his first NFL start at 30 years old. And you're right. I think Sean Payton did a great job game planning, but there was a lot of easy throws for him, a lot of yards after the catch, a lot of screens. The Saints have been one of the best screen teams in the NFL during this entire Sean Payton era. So the deep balls were pretty surprising. And the fact that Taysom Hill was able to throw them on target was also surprising. But they did still use the vintage Saints short, quick passing game to move the football. So I think that's what the Broncos certainly need to play for, protecting the deep ball, but tackling in space will be huge this Sunday.
Yeah, James used a bagel for a prop. I would have used a hurricane from Pat O'Brien's. Shout out New Orleans.
Everything's closed, man. I'm not having the New Orleans experiences that I usually have this year.
Yeah, it's different this year. But I'll say with Taysom Hill, it's kind of what we saw in college, right? You're going to make short, efficient passing, lots of quick slants, and then basically tell him to run. Like, if it's not there, just run. And it worked. It worked against Atlanta anyway. And we always need to take into account the opponent whenever a performance like this happens. So collect some film, but this is the Taysom Hill that we know. I don't think Sean Payton did anything completely different or outrageous compared to what we thought Taysom Hill could do.
And the other aspect I do want to bring up, guys, to this is, Alvin Kamara was not used in the same fashion you usually see Alvin Kamara, and Deion Jones plays a big factor in that. And if you don't have that type of player that can match up against Alvin, you're in for a world of hurt on how your game's going to go. So the Broncos obviously need to plan on Alvin and what he can bring. That was not a typical Kamara game that you usually see. That had a little bit to do with what Atlanta brings, Alexis, to cover him. That's going to be a big spot that you need to figure out.
Yeah, you mentioned Kamara, but in terms of weapons, Hill has a pretty good one that I think we're all pretty familiar with in Emmanuel Sanders. Devontae Booker, guys, he scored 2 touchdowns in his revenge game against the Broncos. So what's Emmanuel Sanders going to do?
Well, Emmanuel, and Emmanuel loves Emmanuel, and I think he would love to come in and make sure that his presence is known at Mile High. And he is a guy that likes to do that against teams that he's played in the past, and he's been on a variety of teams. So I think he's going to be a guy that we know the energy that he brings, and knowing that you have to account for, last year's Offensive Player of the Year in Michael Thomas, the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year this year in Alvin Kamara. Oh, yeah, then Emmanuel can go and do what he chooses. So I do think he's set up to have a decent revenge game. And if anybody, Chris, is going to scheme this up for somebody, it's Sean Payton to try to set up a guy, maybe Bill Belichick as well, to go have that revenge situation.
Yeah, I could totally see Emmanuel Sanders during this week of preparation for the Broncos telling Sean Payton, I need about 10 to 12 targets in this game against a former team. He seems like that kind of player. The one thing I will say, I think it does help the Broncos that they're just coming off a game facing an inexperienced quarterback, a rookie, in Tua Tagovailoa. They get that same kind of player that's only made one start in the NFL in Taysom Hill. A lot of delayed blitzes, using different cover guys on Emmanuel Sanders, whether it be safeties, whether it be corners, to just mix things up and confuse Taysom Hill so Emmanuel Sanders can't have a really big revenge game.
Yeah, he gonna do E. That's what he does. He's gonna do it against Bryce Callahan. So that'll be a great matchup to watch on Sunday and see how Sanders does it. And all of those weapons, I'll throw in some Latavius Murray love. Like, you've got to watch out. They don't use Jared Cook, so maybe against the Broncos who struggle against tight end. So it's Sanders, it's Thomas, it's all of these weapons. This is a tough matchup for the Broncos coming up.
Big game on Sunday as the Saints come to town. All right, guys, that's all the time we have for Broncos Beat. For Cecil, Lammey, James Palmer, and Chris Trapasso, I'm Alexis Perry. Thank you so much for watching.